G'day folks, we're out here again with some of our favourite 4x4 utes. We've got the Toyota Hilux, Ford Ranger, Holden Colorado and the V6 Volkswagen Amarok. Now we've played with a lot of these cars before, matched them up side by side, some of them, but these ones are all top spec models. What are the specs on these, Fraser?
Well, the first one I've got here is the Hilux TRD. Now TRD stands for Toyota Racing Development. Now unfortunately there's no racing parts on this car, but there are a lot of styling parts and other equipment. It's got leather, tow bar standard, wheel arch flares, different grille, soft tonneau. Next one across is the Holden Z71. Most distinctive thing about this is the aerodynamic cabin extension. You've got black bonnet panels, leather inside, different wheels and tyres. Next one across we've got the Ford Ranger Wildtrak, which is top spec, again leather. It's got a hard tonneau cover at the back, which is a roller type thing, different wheels and tyres. The last car on the line is the Volkswagen V6 Amarok. That's not top spec, actually it's one off top spec, but the big thing about that, it has got a different engine. It's got a V6 turbo diesel, which is shared with a couple of Porsche models and Volkswagen Touareg.
So with that being a V6, we've got a V6 here, a 5-cylinder in the Ford and a couple of 4-cylinders.
That's right, yep.
And the V6 isn't the biggest one, the Ford's 3.2 litre.
Right, yeah, the Ford's bigger, actually less cylinders but more capacity.
So it'll be interesting to compare the two on performance. Well, let's get them out on the tracks and see how they go.
Absolutely, yep. We're driving the Toyota Hilux TRD here. So this car is essentially the same as an SR5 with a number of sort of dress-up items on it, and not mechanical stuff except for the wheels and the bash plate. All of which means a good thing. The best thing about this vehicle is Toyota reliability, Toyota build quality. It feels really well stuck together, particularly in comparison to the Ford and the Holden. The engine's quiet and refined. Not the most powerful thing, and the performance is a bit ordinary due in part to its quite tall geared. In fact, it's got the least powerful engine but carries the tallest gearing, and I've done that for economy. Off-road it really works well, and the secret here is it's got a lot of travel in the rear live axle. It's got in fact class-leading travel. Optional diff lock, which doesn't really add a lot because it cancels the traction on the front axle, but in a lot of ways it doesn't need it because the traction control is so good. So good all-round ute, especially good off-road. A little bit smaller cabin than the rest, but it's still got plenty of room and nicely equipped. We're driving the Ford Ranger Wildtrak here, top spec one, leather and everything. Unusual car, this one 5-cylinder engine, the biggest engine here actually. I mean, it's a bigger capacity engine than the Volkswagen, even though the Volkswagen has more cylinders. The fact that it's a big capacity engine means it's very low revving and torquey. I mean, it never has to work hard, you never see any revs on board. It holds onto the taller gears really nicely, it's super relaxed. The other thing about the 5-cylinder engine, you may think that's a bit unusual and it'll be rough running because it's an uneven number of cylinders, but in fact once it smooths out off idle, it's particularly comfortable and quiet. It's a really good engine, nice gearbox. On-road dynamics are good on this car. Ford have done a great job of sorting out the suspension for Australia conditions. Off-road it works well too. It's a lot of wheel travel in this chassis. It's got a rear locker, and unlike a lot of things, when you engage the rear locker it keeps the traction action on the front axle. So good all-round ute, tows well, big cabin, in fact the longest cabin in the class. Not surprised that this is Australia's most popular four-wheel drive right now. We're driving the Holden Colorado Z71 here. Just to backtrack a little bit, this ute came out in 2012 and to tell the truth it wasn't the best thing around. But the good news is Holden pulled it all apart, stuck in a whole lot of new parts, revised parts, and virtually rebuilt the car from the ground up. What we have now is something that on-road rides, handles and goes particularly well. I mean, the engine's very strong, the gearbox has got good shift protocols, it's probably the pick of the 3 6-speeders here. Not so good off-road, I mean, it lacks a little bit of wheel travel, there's no rear locker. It does the job off-road, but it's amongst this company, it's not a front runner. Good general purpose ute, as a Pacific off-road ute, you can do better. Driving the Amarok V6 here. Look, to cut a long story short, this car is really in a class of its own in this for performance-wise, handling-wise, ride-wise, full-time four-wheel drive, refinement, you name it, it does everything better. It doesn't have dual-range gearing, but now a lot of people think, well, that's going to kill it. Well, the fact of the matter, it doesn't. 8-speed automatic, quite a low first gear, high stall ratio on the torque converter, This thing works very nicely off-road, and the really clever part about it is you can be driving down a freeway at 110 kilometres per hour, head straight off onto a gnarly trail and not change anything. You don't have to put into full drive, it's in full drive all the time. No low range to select, it just does it. So simple to drive. Top marks for this car.
Well, Fraser, it seems like there's a pretty good bunch of cars, these utes. You can see why they're so popular with the buyers.
Absolutely, yeah. There's not a dud car amongst that lot.
It definitely is. It's hard to pick a winner out of them. And these top spec ones, it seems a lot of them are dressed up, ready for the party, but they haven't got the party to back it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think a smart buyer would go one spec down. If you don't afford, you go XLT, LTZ for the Colorado, the Amarok, when that's the low spec of the V6, so you'd stay with that. I can't see the point of the TRD in a lot of ways. SR5 is what you want.
But the Amarok does deliver on performance. It's certainly got the power there, and a bit more refined in the ride as well.
Yeah, more refinement. It wins on most things. It's got performance, it's got the ride refinement, handling. It hasn't got low range, but it doesn't seem to hurt it off-road. It's a nice thing to drive, fantastic seats, big wide cabin.
Yeah, the only thing that stops the cars around here is these greasy tracks on road tyres. So yeah, great bunch of utes. It comes down to personal preference, which one people like.